Welcome to HughVoices.com, the great reflection of you. I'm Bobby Marvin. I'm here with Marc Steiner. How are you today, Marc?
I'm doing really well, man. How are you?
I'm all right. It's a busy year for all of us.
Yes, it is.
Citywide elections coming up, particularly the mayor election. What are your thoughts on this year?
It's too early to tell. I mean, this is just, will it be a crowded field with tons of people? I'm sure Catherine Pugh's staying in. I think the mayor is staying in. We'll see what Carl Stokes does. Will Jody Landers come in? Rumors about Michael Sarbanes jumping in. Kwesi says he's not in. He is, he isn't. Now he isn't. It's really hard to say. I mean, it's going to be, and some of the people who've run before are running again. So it's very difficult to say. I don't know. I think it's very hard to beat a seated mayor in the city of Baltimore. It's really hard to beat a seated mayor who will probably have well over $1 million in a war chest. So it's hard to say. I mean, I'm still trying to listen to see who really has ideas that are much different than what I've heard in the past.
There's a lot on the table, but what do you think should be the number one focus of incumbent or candidate this year?
For mayor?
Yes.
Oh, man, there's a lot. I mean, I think that you have to really deal with the deficit cities are facing and how you're going to address that. Education, the same things. Crime, the question of tax write-offs you give to developers and how much we're losing there. We will have lost over a 25-year period over $40 million from just one developer in our city's coffers. Those are huge issues. Redesign the city, issues of poverty. I mean, there's a lot of creativity a mayor can bring to the job. I mean, I can't do everything, but I'm going to see who's going to bring us some inspiring leadership, like say to the governor, give me control of parole and probation. Let me turn crime around my way in Baltimore City. Let's put some money into ex-cons, former gang members. Let them make our streets safe in a different kind of way, through peace as opposed to violence and through fear of violence. Let's figure out how you create a police force that is strong and tough, but at the same time will take a little boy to lunch to turn him around instead of putting him in jail. Let's not build new prisons. Let's hear a mayor saying, let's not build new prisons. Let's build community. Let's build urban agriculture. Let's do something different in Baltimore. And I'd love to hear somebody with that kind of passion come to the fore. Of course, that passion doesn't mean they're going to win, because who's going to back it? With money, I mean. With money.
I don't have to tell you, the hot topic across the country is the economy. People want jobs. Simple as that.
Right.
And right now, hey, that's not an easy task to fill. What do you think any mayor, any prospective mayor, should be thinking about when it comes to their constituents and moving the economy forward locally?
I think it's really difficult. I think it can be done. You can do things to move towards that. But I think it's very hard for a mayor to create jobs. I think that is really a federal job. I mean, it is, and right now we're at a place in America where the side that says no taxes and don't tax the wealthy, we don't want more taxes, we want to cut services, cut government, is the side that seems to be winning the day at this moment. Because that moment can shift and change. But I mean, do we really want to invest in our country and put people back to work? We could do it here. We could do it here with bringing solar power to Baltimore, putting people to work in building that. We could do it here by rebuilding the infrastructure of the city and putting people to work that way, and making sure that if new jobs come to Baltimore and industries come in, that you hire people who live in Baltimore City. If you're a patrolman in this city, if you're a police officer, live in Baltimore City. And building our housing stock back. So I mean, but a mayor alone cannot create jobs. They don't have the economic underpinning and power to do that, I don't think.
Let's switch gears just a little bit. You are up for the first James Baldwin Annual Award presented by Mr. Anthony McCarthy, who
yes.
you know very well,
yes.
next week. Speak on that.
Well, that's very humbling to me, and I'm really honored. I mean, that to be recognized that way among a lot of wonderful people who are also getting awards that night, all who whom are fighters for social justice and human rights and civil rights, and to fight racism and end poverty in our society. I think that, and do it in the name of James Baldwin. I mean, I was a little boy of 12 years old when I first read Go Tell It on the Mountain. And James Baldwin has always been a huge influence intellectually and viscerally in my life. So I've read everything he's ever written.
Good writer.
I think he's was one of the most eloquent spokesmen of his period, still one of the great literary figures. I think that he shows the power of the African-American diaspora on the planet Earth. It's something I like to say a lot, which is that these days, they really harp on many different levels. 0.8% of the world's population are African Americans. 0.8%. 8% of the world's population of prisoners are African American men. On the other side of that coin, think about the power that African American culture has had on the planet Earth, and James Baldwin's part of that. He was part of the pioneers of that, with Langston Hughes before him and others. And I think that he was a fighter for civil rights. He was openly gay when people were afraid to be openly gay in America. He was an amazing human being, and to be honored by that in terms of the civil rights work that I've done over the last 40-odd years of my life means a great deal. This is a huge honor, and I'm deeply humbled by it.
All right, Mark. Well, I'll definitely stay tuned to your show, and we'll keep an eye out for this year for the Lexus, because it's going to be exciting.
And let me just say one quick thing. I know I don't roll and get on the air with Anthony, but it's good to meet you. I think that you are an example of the young, rising journalists of the next generation who are going to do great things. I admire your gut and I admire your stick-to-itiveness in the work you do. You're doing good work, so it's good to finally meet you.
All right. Thank you, Mark.
All right.